you. Oh, wow, you started a wave. Appreciate that. Thank you guys for coming. I'm going to talk about email marketing automation. You know, these days it's really email marketing automation for publishers or anybody that owns a list. Right, affiliates, that's kind of the new thing. I know you've probably seen some trends. If you saw the keynote this morning, everybody's talking about collecting data and personalizing. So this is what the talk is going to be about. Marketing automation is kind of a buzzword. Let me give you my background. I was an affiliate many moons ago when mortgage clicks used to be 80 cents. That was a good time. Did that for a few years, ran a few hundred profitable campaigns, different verticals. Went on to building technology companies. I built 3, exited 2 of them, and marketing automation has been my bread and butter for a good part of the past half decade or 6 years or so. So I'm pretty excited to share with you. I hope that by the end of this talk, marketing automation is not going to be a buzzword, right? It's going to be your strategy. Now, because we only have 30 minutes, there's only so much I can cover, so the purpose of the talk is to give you kind of frameworks, how to think about it, give you some actionable items to follow up, and then I'm going to point you to resources and how you can do more. You don't have to take notes, well, you can take notes, of course, but I'm going to share my email at the end and my LinkedIn. You can just shoot me a message. I'll send you the deck just so you can keep focused on where it's important. If you do have any questions while I'm talking, feel free to raise your hand. We're going to pass a mic. And yeah, let's start. How many of you, by the way, booked a show while you were here through like Vegas or Expedia or TripAdvisor? I booked like 2. I'm still getting emails even today. It's great. Personalization is the future. And this talk is really going to cover how do user segmentations work, which is the anchor point of everything we do with marketing automation, and especially email marketing automation. How do we plan funnels, what tools we use, what resources we take. The entire objective is to really make it personal as possible with as few humans as possible, right? So let's start. So what it's all about, it's about connecting subscriber activity to specific marketing messages. The way we do that is with smart segmentations. What we're trying to do is figure out specific people, what are they doing, who they are, if it's on their email, if opens, click, and so on, and off email, Facebook, website. I'm going to give you a bunch of examples to use. And from that, we're building triggers and actions. Okay, triggers and actions is something when you start drilling down into marketing automation, starting reading blogs and starting planning, your whole mindset should be around what is a trigger and what is an action. Okay? What is causing me to create a new kind of message or send whatever kind of message, and what is the action? What message am I actually sending? How am I sending it? Why do you want to do it? Really, it's about personalization. You know, the power of personalization is huge. Most affiliates do something basic, right? You know, I like to blame MailChimp for this because of their F name in squiggly brackets, hi, first name. That's kind of the extent of personalization most of us do. But really what we want to do is figure out who the people are and create these funnels, right? If you're a man, I want to talk to you in a certain way. If you're a woman, I want to talk to you in a different way. If you're 50 plus, I want to talk to you in a third way. If you're just finishing college, I want to use different words. It allows you to scale these marketing activities with a very, very small team. I was an owner-operator affiliate. I did not have a team. I had to create all these campaigns and all these activities myself, which I'm sure most of you do the same, right? Maybe you have 1 or 2 people working for you. You're probably using like 20 different freelancers. When you do marketing automation funnels, and you're going to see most of the work is in the planning, not really the implementation, it allows you to scale indefinitely. Now, I'm also going to talk to you about when not to do it, because I don't want you to spend your time, waste your time. So segments. When we talk about segments, we're trying to think out of your users. And again, users could be customers, prospects, whatever it is, people on your email list. Who are they and what are they doing? For the purpose of this talk, I separated it into 2 types of segments. One is event-driven segments. So event-driven segments is anything that identifiable user, right? For this particular case, we're talking about identifiable user does or does not do. So these are a few very common examples, right? Something they do, they become a subscriber. They open an email. They attended your webinar. They watched a video. These are things that actually happen, and now you know that about them. If you know that about them, how can you personalize your next communication? So these are some of my favorite examples. Now, what a lot of people miss is the negative aspect of an action. And inaction is as much of an action for you as an action. If somebody opened your message, it's important. But if somebody did not open your message or did not open your last four, it's almost as important. Right? You want to communicate with them differently. Obviously, something is not working. Your subject lines, your content, maybe it's a deliverability issue. Right? Maybe you're not using the right ESP. Same thing for clicks. If somebody keeps opening your messages and just simply does not click or always clicks some irrelevant link, as far as you're concerned, some irrelevant link, that tells you something. You need to communicate with that person in a different way. Now, some of the more sophisticated ones, when somebody reaches a point in an email sequence, right? I'm hoping a lot of you have autoresponders in place, and the autoresponders could be because they joined a list and you have the sequence that gets them to an offer, but maybe you own some company that, like Vegas.com, when I signed up, they know, oh, you have a trip to Vegas, it's gonna be between those dates. They're gonna try and push as much messages to you as possible within those 2-week period that's irrelevant. Time pass since X, okay? X is a big deal. If any of you attended the keynote this morning, he talked about some really great examples, pretty advanced, by the way. The reason I'm saying pretty advanced is that most people don't even think about those things and don't really have the tools to connect those data points. But that's really the bread and butter of marketing automation. How you can find data points to connect in real time or in a relevant time to decide that something important happens so you can personalize the next message. Time passed since somebody watched a video. Time passed since they last visited a specific page on your website. You know, last read a blog post, last commented. There's a lot of different data hooks you can latch into. If they visited a web page or did not visit a web page. So the most common thing, you know, everybody here probably knows about abandoned cart. Right? That's one of kind of the most basic marketing automation stuff. Somebody started your funnel, added to cart, proceeded, did not check out. Right? They're in the bucket of did not check out. There's a lot of companies 100% focus on abandoned cart in that specific segment, right? People that did not visit a web page. A new thing that was happening, and was mentioned in the keynote today also, is anything related to videos. Facebook allows you to target and create these subsegments of people based on how much of the video they actually consumed. So if you know a certain segment, and maybe you're using Wistia, maybe you're using YouTube, doesn't really matter. Most of them give you players that allow you to do this. If you're pushing video content and you know, oh, this person opened 3 emails, and every time I open an email, he clicks through the video and watches 100% of the video, but for some reason, he did not visit my cart page, or he did not jump through my affiliate link. That's a segment you want to create and communicate with them differently, because this guy probably needs something else. That's event-driven segments. Next thing I want to talk to you about is data-driven segments, okay? Or you can also call it person-driven segments. So what do you know about the person? This is stuff that you learned about them, and it's pretty much static, okay? I'll give you some examples. Demographic, you know, are they male? Are they female? Are they married? Do they have kids? Where they are they in the US? Are they in a big city? Are they rural? How long have they been there? What they do for their livelihood? These are very important questions. You know, if you know somebody is a Waffle House server and he's 25, he's not married, and you're trying to push this new online course to him or some affiliate offer about making money online, you're not going to communicate them the same way as they're 55 and they're looking for, you know, the next thing to do in retirement. There are different people. It's really important you know who they are, what they do. If you have that information, this is actually the best kind of information, is financial, right? What is their lifetime value to you? What did they buy? How much they spent? Obviously, if somebody is very valuable to you financially, you're going to communicate with them differently, right? They are a higher value lead. The last thing is interests and what they like. You know, same thing. If you know they're into Reddit and they have some obscure hobbies, or if they're, Republican or Democrat, especially with our last elections, you're going to send different types of content to them, and you're going to use different language with them because you understand what motivates them just because of that inclination. Social accounts is actually pretty important. I'm going to give a couple examples later. But social accounts tells you where they are. Okay, so medium and communication is very important, either because you're doing top of the funnel stuff. So top of the funnel is you're trying to get them in. So maybe you're trying to build a Facebook ad. So oh, they're on Facebook, or they're on Pinterest, or they're on LinkedIn, whatever it is. But it's also important for retargeting, which I'm going to give some cool examples for. So after you know what they are, right, we had some event-driven stuff, we have some data or person-driven stuff, you actually need to segment. Segmentation is really the most important skill that you have for marketing automation. If you're going to take one thing out of this talk, it's about how to think about segmentations. So you're trying to use data, and you're trying to use events as a trigger to create a segment. Okay? It's all about sending the right message, to the right person at the right time. Again, they're retired. Maybe they don't have a day job anymore. They like to hike over the weekend or just go to movies at night. They're going to open your emails and do different things and think about the future in a different way than somebody that's working 2 jobs, 16, 18 hours a day. I like to look at the world in 2 ways: simple segments and advanced segments. A simple segment is something like this. It's a one-time thing. He clicked on a link, and then you're moving them to an interested leads list. Okay, that's a very simple segment. An advanced segment is something that's multivariate, right? They clicked on a link and visited my website 3 times in the past 30 days and did not check out, right? That's a complicated or an advanced segment. Now, I want you to be careful. I like to say education without action is entertainment, right? You don't need to, and this is very common, especially at a conference like this, right? So much great content, it's hard to choose what to actually act upon. Don't make your life difficult and create 50 segments. It's not actionable, okay? That's why it's easy to think simple segment, it's like a one thing I'm gonna profile the people on, I'm gonna personalize it based on that, and then advanced segments, I'm gonna do it based on multiple things. I like to say that really, if I don't have a few hundred people that match, that kind of drill down to a segment, they're not worth personalizing for. Because when you do personalize, usually there's some kind of production involved. It's not just hi, first name, right? You want to try changing the content, maybe changing the graphic, maybe changing the landing page. Too much work. Hundreds of people, great. If your list is only 500 people, keep it simple segments. When you start using different automation platforms, this is very common. This is a segment builder. And this is an example of a multivariate one. Basically, if your database, if your Excel file, CSV file, has the right information, and feel free to ask where you can get different kinds of information. I can definitely answer that. Any platform pretty much would allow you to do this. Create segments based on data or based on events. Again, data is person. So let's talk about how to plan automation funnels. There's really 3 things, right? First of all, to whom does it happen? Okay, what is the segment? Is it a buyer? Is it everyone? Is it vegan women over 25 from New York? How drilled down do you want it to be? When does it happen? What is the trigger? What happened in the real world? What did you just learn that warrants an action? Right? Maybe they signed up to your list. Maybe they clicked on an email and you want to start a countdown timer. Maybe they reached the end of a sequence. Maybe they purchased something. Okay, these are triggers. And then what happens? Are you going to email them? Are you going to create a custom Facebook audience? Right, so you can target them on Facebook. Are going to start a countdown timer. Maybe you're going to text them. Maybe you have their cell phone. Right, you want to tell them, hey, there's 4 hours left. Or just move them to a new list. Right, when they hit that event, you know what? They're no longer that kind of a lead for me. I'm going to move them to a different qualification funnel. Depending on what platform you're going to use, some platforms are all-inclusive, like the vendors, some of the vendors in the exhibit hall, kind of like Infusionsoft, and GetResponse, ActiveCampaign. These guys are going to give you end-to-end, managing your email, creating different automation and segments, and also just set your actions. I'm kind of a hacker. I like to use the best platform for whatever needs to get done. So you have to think about what connector you're going to use. Center is this new product from Lead Pages, pretty cool. I like it. Zapier, B2B, automation, and IFT, very common platforms. If you have a small list, 5,000 people, 10,000 people, you can easily use one of those connectors. Here's an example I got out of Gyp. If anybody doesn't know Gyp, it's a pretty popular email marketing automation product. I took this graphic from their homepage. This is becoming very popular. It's actually like a JavaScript library that allows you to build these automation funnels. So I want you to see how the planning of it starts, right? So in this particular case, they say we have a new subscriber, we send a campaign, we wait, and then depending on what happens, we tag them. If they're tagged that way, we're going to send them campaign A. If they're tagged that way, we're going to send them campaign B, and that's the end of it. That's a very simple flow example with their interface, but again, this interface is going to become pretty common. What I think you should do is learn charting, okay? Chart it out. This is an example I just did a couple of months ago for something we presented. And I use Lucidchart, probably one of my favorite charting tools. You can create something like this in probably 2-3 minutes. Very, very easy. Lucidchart, that's a tool. In this case, we have list A, we have 3 emails for a follow-up series. And then on email number 4, the user clicks a link, I send them to a different list, and then they start the new list. 3 emails, they finish the sequence, and I get them back, right? Yeah, go ahead. Can you come up to the mic?
See, in a setup like this, it can get very confusing when you have multiple lists. You have to, somebody gets on one list, you have to take them off the list. You got to know when they got off, and
that's right. So that's why it's important to understand what is that event, right? So when you plan the automation funnel, you want to think in form of events, and then just understand, okay, how many events do I really have, that are worth personalizing? That's the key word, worth personalizing. Now that you know that they click that link or open that email, how different is their mindset? And how different can I change my content and personalize it so they're going to convert more, right? If that answer is not really, then it's pointless. Don't automate.
Okay, so people go in this direction and the permutations can get complex.
Yeah.
I just worry that my people are getting multiple emails from being on 2 lists simultaneously. You just have to think it all through and map it all out.
Yeah, and that's why charting is very important, especially if you work with a team, because then you can chart it out. You can say, this is the icon for a list, this is the icon for a decision intersection, this is the icon for a follow-up. Yeah, you definitely try to avoid having the same person in multiple funnels at the same time. Yeah, you don't want to do that because then you're not really controlling the communication. Let's see a real example. So funny enough, as I was preparing for this slide, I was targeted by Ezra Firestone. I'm betting probably all of you were targeted by him, right? Probably targeted people that like Affiliate Summit or something. He has this new course coming out, or came out, Video Ads Mastery. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. So I clicked the Facebook ads, signed up for the email, and then I just waited because I knew shit's going to go down, right? So if you take a look from the very first email, right, access to Video 1, the new way to sell products online, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 emails, right? I didn't click on any of them. I just opened them and clicked 6 emails until I actually clicked through the landing page. And that occurred over 1, 2, 3, 4 days, from December 19th to December 21. At that point in time, I'm like, okay, let's just see what's going on. Click through the email, and I got into the funnel. And as you can see, each and every time I did an action, he had a customized email for me. Right, I clicked through the landing page. He sent me access to video 2. If you didn't finish video 2, click through again, saw video 3. If you didn't finish video 3, and then he actually got me into the offer. Right, early bird, you have a countdown timer. Here are some, FAQs and so on to try and get me convinced. He almost got me, I have to say. It's a pretty good funnel. So let's see how it actually looks like. So that was one of those emails. If you still want video 1, that's the subject line. That was the email I clicked through. That's the landing page you get. And if you see, he actually built this using Infusionsoft. He has these 3 blocks at the bottom. So you see the video. He knows that once you finish seeing the video, these boxes unlock. So most of those platforms are going to allow you to do these cool things, right? So these these boxes unlock. The next one is video 2. You click on it, get the email, click on that, go back, and so on until you finish the funnel. Lastly, he sent this email, right? The countdown timer in the email offer. This is a personalized timer for me. Okay, actually I had to kind of grab it with a video and convert it to a GIF so you guys can see. This is a personalized timer for me. When I click that email and get to the landing page, I see the same time, right? The same count. So let's talk about stuff you can actually do today. Okay, quick win automations. Very important because I don't want this to be too much theoretical, but as you can see, it's a pretty big world. You have very large company, my last company that I founded in the mobile marketing automation space, eventually had over 400 million devices managing on a monthly basis, right? Sending out a few billion messages a year, well, a month. Some companies in the space are just gigantic and they do only one part of all the stuff that I was talking about. So don't get overwhelmed and try to pick small stuff to make actionable so it's not just entertainment. So retargeting. Retargeting is very easy these days because Facebook allows you to do it, Google allows you to do it. These are some of my favorite forms of retargeting. You take your email list, right, your core email list, you create your targeted segments, those buckets of people you build depending, based on event data, based on person data, and you create custom audiences. You can use it on Facebook and on Twitter. Once you have the custom audience, you can set the targeting to be lookalikes. Lookalikes are really, they're new, likely to convert traffic, right? Because they're not your customers, they're new customers. But if this customer already bought from me, or they started getting into my funnel, so they started opening emails. I don't even know if he's an actual customer yet, but I know he's proactive. I'm targeting people like him, so it's new, likely to convert traffic. The next thing is retargeting your non-converted audience, right? You can kind of keep them on simmer. Maybe they got to the end of your sequence, maybe they did a lot of work with you, but it didn't convert, but you don't want to just let go because you have their contact details. So why not? Just put them on Facebook, set a low CPC, and do something. The next one is Daisychain Lists. I can tell you, I don't know how many people I work with that have very elaborate autoresponder lists, 28 emails, 50 emails, 70 emails in a sequence. And then it ends, and ask them, okay, what happens? Somebody reached email 21, what happens? And they're like, nothing. I'm like, why? You know something about them, right? You know all the times they opened, all the times they clicked, they got to the end of the sequence, you know something about them. Create a new list, daisy chain it. If they get to the end of the sequence, move them to a new list and treat them as if they are people that did not do something, right, converted. Countdown timers, extremely effective. You probably see them, nearly any landing page that we're getting marketed to these days. This is an example of a product that I like called Deadline Funnel. Not involved with it, so this is completely unbiased. What's nice about it is it allows you to create these countdown timers that are all synced up from the various devices, right? So if it's devices and mediums. So on your mobile device, on your email, on your landing page, if you open it and click through, the countdown timers sync. And at the end of it, you can decide what happens, right? Are you going to show a graphic that says expired, or you're going to show some other offer, or redirect to a different page? What I really like about that service is, and when you start getting sophisticated with marketing automation, you'll see how much you need this. It gives you webhooks to attach to, right? So it allows you to do stuff like, this deadline will start when somebody opts in. This deadline will start when somebody clicks a link. This is very, very useful. A lot of countdown timers don't really give you those options. So some of the tools we use all the time, I'm sure some of you use these. And again, I'm going to send you the deck if you email me, so you have a list of all these. And I'm going to try and make them links so it's easier to act upon. Some of the tools, like I told you, I'm kind of a hacker. I like to use specific tools for specific things as opposed to using one all-inclusive platform. I know it can be easier to use one, but I like the ability to control. Some of these tools are all-inclusive. Some of these are very specifically good at one thing. These are some pretty good blogs. Fusionsoft and Drip have really great content about marketing automation. Highly recommend you check this. Let's go to questions. So really, the last note here, with email marketing automation in general, you want to think about what's the most non-personal part of your communication, okay? Any email, any content landing page, whatever it is, that's non-personal, that's you really kind of showing it, same thing, to the 55-year-old, almost retiree, and to the Waffle House employee trying to do something else, okay? If those same people are seeing something completely different, that's probably something you want to inject some marketing automation into and change your funnel, okay? So some questions. Previous slide, sure. Okay, now we know there are no crickets in the room.
I wasn't sure if on the previous slide where you showed all of the solution offerings that you had or that you like to use, I didn't see Intercom. I was wondering if you have any thoughts on that platform.
Intercom is fantastic. Pretty expensive tool. I think they start like $100 a month or even more. Intercom is fantastic. You know what? They should absolutely be here. It's pretty sophisticated. In the context of email marketing, automation, you're really trying to figure out, okay, where can I get events and data related to a list? Intercom obviously can do that, but they also have, there are 4 other products in the suite, or maybe even more. But you're absolutely right. Intercom should be here. Yeah.
Some of these companies clearly want the businesses that have succeeded, or at least become intermediate size.
Sure.
HubSpot, for example, doesn't seem to want the startups.
That's right.
My question is, what is your advice about starting small and migrating across companies as you grow? Is it better to pick one course and ride it all the way up, or is it okay to start small, $20 a month, and migrate up?
So the question was, is it okay to start, but just for the sake of the recording, is it okay to start small with a smaller platform and then upgrade and migrate to different platforms as you go big, because some of these solutions are just not going to let you in with 100 users? So the answer is absolutely yes. I can tell you, to be honest, I've been in this business for nearly 15 years now. All these companies did not exist a few years back. So it's the kind of industry where new solutions come in all the time and migration is inevitable. I would absolutely say it's just fine. Start with a free trial with any of the email service providers and start building there. The real important thing is those charts, right? Knowing what kind of events you can collect and what different triggers and actions need to take place to create a more personalized funnel so you can convert more. As far as the platform itself, it really doesn't matter.
Are the bigger companies going to be able to absorb, if you will, all the work you did with the smaller company? Or are you going to have to recreate a lot of things when you go to the bigger company?
It depends on the company. Normally, you will need, so it depends on your CRM, to be honest. So it depends on how you collect data. If you collect data in a centralized CRM and all that, and that could be just an Excel file. It doesn't need to be something sophisticated. If you collect the data in a centralized CRM, so you have your subscriber email, the first name, last name, and then a column for events you care about and data points you care about, nearly all of these companies are going to allow you to upload that list in that fashion and create segments based on the columns, based on those dissections. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about that at all. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
So we are writing our own CRM right now, and we have the option of integrating with a provider that will send out the emails and provide hooks for all these events. In essence, it's more work, but there's more control over exactly how we want our emails to behave or anything that we want to track. Is that an efficient strategy or a waste of time? Because we're not in the email service provider business, but I just like the fact that I have that much control over it.
Yeah.
What would you do in that situation?
I like it. I'm a builder, right? So I like to build things. I guess it's a preference, right? If you're using stuff like SendGrid or Mailgun or Amazon SCS that are going to give you that data and the deliverability, and you have the ability to create your own CRM, that's probably best, because the reality is our businesses are unique. Okay, some businesses really fall into standard verticals, but most likely your business is kind of unique, And it's going to be very hard to find some off-the-shelf CRM that's going to fit exactly what you're doing.
Okay. I had a self-doubt that, you're getting carried away with writing too much stuff that's custom. You're not in the email service provider business. You just buy a package. But the way I saw it, I get to have all my marketing and studying what my salespeople do all in one super system, which I think is really cool. So.
Yeah, if you can afford it, absolutely. There's actually a service I don't think I put here, segment.co. It's kind of a data repository. So it allows you to push in any kind of event from any kind of system, okay, with the email as the common modifier. So this is always Lior's, action or data. And then you can use it however you want. So, back to that other question about small, platforms or bigger platforms, as long as the data repository is there and you're collecting data, you can be fine in the future. You can be fine moving forward. Segment is really a great tool. So if you have the dev capacity to create even the most basic CRM, I would say don't just use your own database, use Segment. Push the data there, whatever data it is, if it's a visit, a click, doesn't really matter, a video watched, and then use their APIs to work the CRM.
Great, thank you.
Sure. Anything else? Great, thank you so much, guys. I have one request. You have those, just hold on. You have those feedback. If you fill them out, you might get a free ticket to the next Affiliate Summit in New York, which is a great conference. I think it's in the Marriott Marquis, right? Great hotel. I was there last year. Really fun. Please fill it out. It will help me a lot. Give me feedback. And have a great one. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Weinstein.
Enjoy Vegas.
We'll go ahead and